Greetings, Benjamin J. from Ben's Trains with another in the series. Well, I got an interesting email last night from a gentleman by the name of Austin, who actually lives about 20 minutes from me, and said he had some old Marx motors and asked if I would like to have them. I said, yes, of course. I can always use parts. Anyway, I went over this morning and picked up some of the motors, and I wanted to do a quick video on this. This is, of course, a Marx 588. Now, this thing was majorly trashed. It was missing the front right wheel, the brush spring or brush wire was off. You notice it looks like it's been bypassed. This has not been bypassed. This came from the factory like this. It's wired exactly like the E-unit bypass. Power going to this side of the coil, this side going to the brushes. So, in any case, pressed a new wheel on it. The wheel was missing. Got the wheel pressed on. It was missing the tab and slot coupler. Got that replaced. Put a light bulb in it. Had to do a bit of judicious tweaking on it, of course. But the result is, it is actually running quite well. This is a double reduction motor. Fortunately, it was the non-geared wheel that was missing. The bearing was on the shaft or on the axle, but the wheel itself was gone. So I went through my parts, found a front wheel off a steam locomotive, which is basically the same wheel, and got this up and running. So I got the shell repaired. It was broken in the front and actually really badly broken in one corner. So just kind of roughed it out to make them match, and then gave this a bath. So excuse me, I'll get this assembled and I'll have a 588 that's running. Excuse me. Austin also gave me a Lionel 52 fire car. Now, this didn't run at all, and some judicious tweaking on it. And this is exactly like the gang car, forward reverse with these push-pull switches in the front, as you see. Anyway, it's also up and running. One direction only. There's a bad connection switch. The top cover is missing, but it actually runs, as you see. The hose is intact. The driver pivots. He's out of place right now, so I've got to get that repaired. And I've got to pull this apart and fix the connection for this switch when the bumper moves back and forth. It only runs one direction right now. He also gave me a Marx micromotor. Now, this is shot. There's nothing I can do with it except gut it for the wheels, brushes, brush springs, etc. As you see, the side plate is broken. These are all modular. So once the side plate is broken and that gear is broken off, there's nothing you can do with them. But it has the contactor on it. It has the springs and the brushes, so I can scavenge the axles, the wheels, the brush springs, the brushes. The rest of the motor itself is trashed. Also, the contactor and spring were missing on that motor. And also, this is an antique Marx motor, as you see. And it's missing the intermediate gear. But a bit of judicious tweaking on it, it's running as well, as you see. So anyway, just wanted to do a quick video on these. I'll assemble the 588, get it up and running. Then I'm going to turn my attention to the 52 fire car. And then I will pull the wheels off this, see if I have an intermediate gear, and to see if I can get this up and running. This is an old motor. It has a mechanical E-unit, as you see. Actually just a switch and a lever. The top of this lever should be about that high. It's broken off. But in any case, it is a complete antique Marx motor, and it's running. So if I can get an intermediate gear on this, this will be up and running as well. Has the original light socket, old, rusted, rather beat up, but it's running, and that's the nice thing about it. This is an old motor. This is Joyline circa or era rather than Marx. But as you see, it is actually running. So I've got to put an intermediate gear on it. It has the original brushes. It's completely original. It's just missing this bearing, the rear axle bearing, and it's missing the intermediate gear. So someone's had the wheels off of it in order to get that gear off. And in the process of doing that, they lost that bearing. So in any case, this is a double reduction motor, as you see. Now, it was missing the contactor and the contactor plate, spring, everything. So I had a contactor plate. It was broken, of course, so I used the epoxy putty to repair it, as you see. Put a spring in it, put a new contactor on it. Just got it tack soldered right now so I could test it. And had to resolder the wire going to the top brush plate, as you see. But this motor is actually running really well. Put an old light bulb in it. Like I said, it was missing the front right wheel. And fortunately, it was the non-geared wheel. So I just used the front wheel off of a steam locomotive, basically the same wheel. And then the shell itself was broken in the front. I've got that cursory fixed for now. And put a tab and slot coupler on it. And this will be up and running. So I'll do a video of the 588 when it's complete. And then I'll turn my attention to the Lionel 52 fire car. Then this one. It needs a intermediate gear. It needs a wheel bearing. And I got to pull the wheels off to put the intermediate gear on it. But it is running. The Marx micromotor is trash. There's nothing I can do with it except scavenge the parts off of it, which I'll do. I'll grab the wheels, the axles, brushes, brush springs. Anyway, just want to say a special thank you to Austin. He contacted me and asked me if I'd like to have this stuff. Went over this morning and picked it up, and all of them in a Ziploc bag, as you see. And all of them are now running with the exception of the micromotor. There's nothing I can do with that one. It's all modular, so the gear is broken completely off the side plate, so there's nothing you can do with it. So I'll just scavenge that one for parts. Anyway, I'll do a follow-up on the 588 when it's assembled. Then the Lionel 52 fire car. Hopefully I can get it going forward and reverse. And then the antique Marx motor. This is an old motor. This is late 20s, early 30s. And it needs an intermediate gear and a rear wheel bearing. Now, whether I have a wheel bearing that will fit this, I'm not sure. These are old bearings. I may have one out of a pre-war motor that will fit. The only way to tell is to pull it apart, pull the wheels off, see if the bearing will fit, and then find an intermediate gear for it. In any case, just wanted to do a quick video. A quick thank you again to Austin for thinking of me. Contacted me last night, asked me if I'd like to have these, and went over this morning, picked them up. Surprisingly, he lives about 20 minutes over in Morton, which is 20 minutes, half an hour away. Anyway, picked them up. Just got this one complete. It's ready to go back in its shell. A running 588 and the 52 fire car. See what I can do with it. It's already running, but it only runs forward. I've got to get the switches sorted out. And of course, this antique motor. I've got it running as well, but it needs parts. So in any case, just wanted to do a quick video on this. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email, BENZTRAINZ@gmail.com. And as always, thank you for watching.